hyper-personalization. So I'm quite hot on this, and I think it's something that seems very insignificant at first, but then you see the data and you see the conversion numbers and you go, wow, I did not know that, personalizing a message can have such a significant impact on users. So hyper-personalization is really one step above personalization. Personalization was, your first name comes in and that's it on your email. Hyper-personalization is what's the time of the day that you interact with your app, so that we can drop a message to you at that exact same point, so that you are likely to convert much higher rate. And that's the difference between personalization and hyper-personalization. So if I say, hey, Billy, your newsletter has landed. Yeah, that's personalization. But if I say that, sorry, Billy, but at 1 p.m. during work hours where Billy's most active on his phone, then that means, he's more likely to convert, and that's hyper-personalization. So improves conversion. However, significant data is required. So you can imagine, right? We are observing that user every single day for interaction, but that's one data point. To hyper-personalize weather, so we look at car data, so where the car has been, and if you want to show the weather along the route, then that becomes a significant data requirement. So you have to be mindful of that. But once you do get it, the conversion rates could potentially be way greater than the cost of storing that data. Retrospective data. So that's actually, I've just put a bullet point in there, but that's actually a problem. There's plenty of times where, even if you talk about in personalization terms or hyper-personalization, you may not be able to gather data retrospectively. So if you don't start gathering that data from day one on when Billy uses his phone, what the first name for that user is at the point of registration, and you come up with this amazing idea that's going to make you £2 million next year, 6 months down the line, and you need the data for it, you can't retrospectively collect that data. And if you're not going to send the user through the registration form month 6, so you can't collect it. So you need to have a lot of foresight, and this is where some of the human ingenuity might come in, of making sure that you collect every possible data without collecting too much data because of GDPR. And draw the line in a good enough place where if you 6 months down the line come up with an idea which requires one of those data points to do hyper-personalization, then you have got the right data available to be able to surface that. So bear that in mind. If you think you may use that data, then you need to start collecting it today rather than wait until you need it. Some examples of what we are doing at the Flow. I'm quite proud of the team and how they've sort of transformed some of those personalized points in there as well. You see on the top right-hand side, that's based on your local weather, showers, snow, and messaging that's really catered around the user's driving style. So we can say, actually, you know what? You may want to reduce your mobile phone usage, because if you reduce your mobile phone usage, you will be much safer and you're less likely to get into an accident. Behind the scenes, we've got the numbers on how likely you are to get into a crash if you use your phone once compared to twice. We've got speed data, which shows us, how fast you travel, not only to the speed limit, but in comparison to people who are driving on the roads on the same road. So, if it's a 50 road and most people drive 40 and you're doing 50, then in our mind, you're slightly unsafe. And those things combine together to give you very hyper-personalized messaging within the app to say, this is what you need to do to become a safer driver. This is what you need to do to have less crashes or no crashes, hopefully. And you see some of those messages on the right-hand side. In the middle, you see connected car data. We're also focusing quite a lot on tire pressure data, oil, fuel levels, and charge levels, etc. But the most important bit is the image on the top. And if that's not a Golf, then the users are going to check out. It's simple things like that, where knowing your user, knowing even showing good afternoon Jade on the top left, these are the things that are actually producing a lot of conversion compared to some of the material items that you would normally expect as well. And that's why hyper personalization is very important. It's table stakes, and users have come to expect this, because when you're working in this space, no one gives you a sort of pass because you're not Uber. Everyone expects you to perform at the same level as Uber, expects the same features as Uber as well. And to do that, you need to start looking at non-material things, i.e. non-tangible things, i.e. good afternoon, good morning, showers, weathers. And those are the things that are going to make a huge difference as you start observing your data.